Tony D and Little Joan, and this is a screenwriter's take on Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, starring Jake Gyllenhaal as a guy in Afghanistan, a soldier in Afghanistan who owes a debt to his interpreter and pays it back in full. Smash a like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 15. Available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So first I'll start with the non-spoiler review and then get into the spoilers. So non-spoiler review, solid movie. I knew it would be. It looked like a good movie based on a true story. I don't like normally a lot of war movies, but this one was pretty good. Had a nice balance of characters, but mostly it focuses on the bond between this soldier, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and his interpreter, who goes above and beyond, and then he helps him. Basically, that's the whole movie. So it's pretty good. It's exciting. Lots of war stuff. Lots of modern war stuff. And Jake Gyllenhaal is pretty good at it. I believed him in the role. I would say my only criticism of it, there's a section in which he tries to cut through some red tape that goes on a little long, but other than that, it's pretty good. It's different from Guy Ritchie. It's a serious movie. I think I watched this for free with commercials on, I think, Verizon. I think that's how that works. So, yeah, I would recommend it. I mean, unless you have something against war movies. They even show the real guys at the end, of course, like they always do. So it seems like it's mostly true, and it's very grounded in reality. Really, it's about the senselessness of war and two guys who kind of overcome it. All right, let's get into the spoilers. It's kind of the only way I could talk about the movie. So go see it if you have a chance and you like these kinds of movies. I think you'll like it. I would give it like like an 8 out of 10, I guess. First act, spoilers, ahoy. First act, Jake Gyllenhaal needs a new interpreter. He's in the field in Afghanistan. They're looking for IEDs during the war, and he gets Ahmed, his new interpreter. Ahmed's a bit of a problem. He's had some discipline issues, but other than that, he seems capable. So Gyllenhaal takes him. At first, he's a little suspicious of him, but takes him on. Ahmed at times disobeys orders, but it turns out a lot of his calls were correct. So there's a moment in which he accuses a guy of being a traitor, and it turns out he did betray them to the Taliban because they had his family. A lot of the movie, a lot of the first and second act. So really the first act is sort of them getting to know each other. The second act really starts, I guess, during the firefight. They get this intel. They go to get an IED factory, and they sort of got this intel on the sly. And they use Ahmed because he's got some contacts, and his brother is like a heroin dealer. So he manages to figure out where the IED factory is, and then they sign off on going there. They get betrayed by one of their own, but they figure it out thanks to Ahmed. They cancel the mission and then go back at another time to get it. At that point, a huge fight erupts, and basically everybody in the unit is wiped out except Gyllenhaal and the interpreter. So now they lose all their vehicles. They're in the desert, I don't know, the mountainous region of Afghanistan, trying to get away from these guys. So they do for a while, but then they catch up to him. Gyllenhaal is injured pretty badly, and his interpreter is forced to basically drag him across a mountain. He does everything in his power to do that. He, bandages him. He takes him to a guy to help him. He gets a truck. I mean, he's really far away. He gets a truck, but they have to avoid the road. At one point, they're nearly caught by the Taliban. At that point, he gives up the truck and hikes over the mountain. Eventually, he gets back. They run into the Americans, but it's a very desperate fight, and that's what I really appreciated. So that's basically the end of the second act. Is Gyllenhaal gets home, horribly injured, wakes up in America. They're patching him up, but his interpreter has been left behind, but he was promised a visa to come to America. But of course, there's a bunch of red tape, and they don't know when they're going to get it, and he needs to get him out of Afghanistan, because what happened was, since they escaped the Taliban's territory, their story became a bit of a local legend. They're folk heroes, and now the Taliban wants them dead. Gyllenhaal's out of reach, but the interpreter's not. He hid in a town, and the Americans can't find him because he's hiding out from the Taliban, and the moment he raises his head, they'll come and kill him. So Gyllenhaal, after spending days and days and days trying to facilitate the paperwork, like over 100 days, decides to take matters into his own hands because he can't sleep at night. So he's going to go there. So he hires a team to help get him in and get him out. But after he gets hired, the team gets hired away for a big contract worth $10 million. Gyllenhaal doesn't want to wait the 3 days they need to finish the mission and come back. So he goes and does the mission on his own, with the understanding he has 3 days and then they're going to pull him out. So he does, and that's another harrowing experience. He gets to Ahmed and his family. They escape to a dam where they're supposed to get picked up. They get into a big shootout on the dam, and at the last minute, the other guys show up and save them. And then they end up saving the day. So that's about it. A fun movie. I wouldn't call it happy, but it has a nice ending. And, it seems like the true story is probably at least partially true. So I like that. Again, you see the two guys at the end, so it indicates to me they both lived and survived their terrible ordeal. And, seems solid enough to me. It's, when you think about the geopolitical stuff, it's obviously like, well, these guys shouldn't be there. They shouldn't even be doing this, but they don't dwell on that aspect of it, and they just they have to be there. Gyllenhaal has to be there. It's not like he's gung-ho about being there kind of thing. He's just trying to do it and survive, do his mission or whatever. And the guys we used as interpreters, they were marked for death by the Taliban. Think about it. I mean, you'd probably be marked for death in your country if you conspired with what they considered was the enemy, right? So it was good to see at least one of the interpreters got out in one piece, and his family. So there's that. The downside was the red tape was a little much. Like, I think we could have fast forwarded through that. I get they wanted to show how horrible the red tape was, but then here's the thing: he spent like over 100 days trying to do the paperwork, and then in the end, he's forced to go get him himself. And then when the team who's going to drop him off and extract him says, "We need another 3 days so we could do this other job," John says, "I can't wait." Well, you already waited over 100 days on the phone trying to do the paperwork and trying to get him back over the phone. So, like, what would be another 3 days at this point? But anyhow, other than that, I thought it was good. I would recommend the movie. Solid, decent screenplay. Jake Gyllenhaal has most of the weight of the movie. And Ahmed is definitely, he's definitely decent, but at the same time, I would have liked to known a little bit about him, a little bit more. We're told that he is mad at the Taliban because they killed his son. But you know, I would have liked to heard more, a little bit more about him. We get to know Jake Gyllenhaal a little bit. The upside is it's not bogged down in that kind of stuff. We don't get scene after scene of them sitting around talking to each other, so that's good. It's mostly focused on the action, which is good and realistic. So yeah, he also has to trade for food and opium while he's dragging him across the mountain. So he, like, Gyllenhaal had to smoke opium so that the pain would subside on his bullet wounds, I guess. So that was kind of interesting. I guess in small amounts it would have been okay. But yeah, and apparently they both survived. So good on them. Good on Guy Ritchie for seemingly at least following the spirit of the events. And yeah, so it's playing on Amazon, playing on a streamer near you. It's Guy Ritchie's Covenant. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on the green site, the orange site, the black site, and we'll be doing more videos. I'm doing 3 videos on YouTube today and 1 video on the alternate platforms. They will all be on the alternate platforms, though. But just a heads up. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.